On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
I get it. Some people like relationships like that. I don't. I want someone that I feel like is like-minded. I don't want somebody like, and that's why I'm kind of split, because the thing is, we're not saying that somebody that's this high value is less than, but I feel like high value for me is that you're able to match my character and really be a complementary piece.
If you guys are just tuning in, welcome to Lapeef, Let's Talk. Moving on to our next topic, which is the high value woman. The high value woman. If you guys are regular to the show, we've often talked about the high value men. So I wanted to give an opportunity to discuss the high value woman. Nix, if you had a chance to describe the high value woman, how would you describe her?
Man, a woman that is has her own mind, independent but collaborative, able to, I guess, I want to say provide, but not in the sense where from a monetary aspect of like having to make the most money, but really being able to kind of provide to the relationship to match my level. Somebody that's able to be like a contributor, a thought partner, a good critical thinker, and somebody that I feel like that we could both kind of take lead on certain situations.
Tawana, from a woman's perspective, if you had to describe a high value woman, how would you describe her?
Solely based off her accomplishments and her salary range, and the things that she's able to afford, and the lifestyle she's able to provide for herself. And so based on whatever, it needs to be a salary that is outside of the average, right? So you can't be within that six-figure salary range. You got to, be bringing in millions. And you got to be pretty much an accomplished woman, and it doesn't even necessarily have to be credentials as far as academics. It could be, a lot of different other accomplishments where, maybe you own several properties, maybe you're, in the real estate games. But I think that when you guys talk about high value women and high value men, it's specifically about salary. It has absolutely nothing to do with character. It has nothing to do with anything else. So what I think a high value woman is totally different from what people define it as. But honestly, I don't label people this way, and y'all know that. So I kind of hate these labels that y'all put on people, like high value men and high value women. But I'm gonna roll with this definition of it, because I'm just gonna mirror whatever you guys claim a high value man is, and I'm just gonna say, hey, that's what high value woman should be. It's no different. And so that's it. I think that high value women, they are often independent and single, and they have, they can take care of themselves, right? Like a lot of them, maybe, don't want to be in a relationship or have a hard time finding relationships. So it's the difference. I guess high value men have the same challenges. So I think that, yeah, it's a difference when you get into that bracket. And then it's difficult for you to, to have a mate, because you are probably chasing success. You're more so concerned about, developing yourself and becoming basically putting all of the effort into, making sure you are doing your best. So I don't know. I guess that's high value.
So yeah. If I heard this correctly, you said it's not about character when it comes to a high value woman.
No.
Okay. That was actually my next question, which is how important is character to a high value woman. But before we get to that question, I'm going to move to Anton. Anton, what makes a high value woman?
So before I even answer this, I just had a question for Tawana. So why do you have a problem with the labels? Like, because it seems like on the flip side of that, it's almost like, well, we don't have any problem labeling men or labeling women trash. You know what I'm saying? We can identify when we see people that are garbage, and we'll label them. But how come we don't want to label it on the other side of it? Because it almost seems as though it's like, because I label somebody high value, it makes somebody else less than.
Yeah, that's why I don't like it. I don't like that beta and alpha comparison. I don't like this high value man women comparison, because I don't like this whole like fascist idea of somebody's less than me and somebody's greater than these women, because I just don't agree with that. So, I mean, I did it for the purposes of defining it for this whole entire show, but it absolutely doesn't, to me, make you a high value woman because your salary is great and care, you know, but I do understand that that's how people define them. So yeah, I mean, I don't appreciate those labels. I think they're silly, but let's go ahead and, you know, we rolling with the show. It's called High Value Women. Let's roll with it.
I think of high value women, and I guess I'm gonna approach it a little bit differently because, you know, I like to be very, very direct, especially when it comes to, you know, being differentiating people in certain groups, especially as it relates to men and women. But I think this is a good subject to talk about, and I define high value women according to what I think that men are looking for in these particular type of women. So I look at a high value woman as, number one, she's beautiful. And when I say beautiful, I'm not defining it as it relates to they look any specific type of way, but she's the very, very best version of that. If she, you know, if she can really, she really takes care of herself, she puts in an incredible amount of effort into her look. That's number one. The second thing is she got to be fit. That means that she's putting effort into the gym, and she's doing the work, and she's doing the things that separate her from just a normal everyday woman. Third, I don't necessarily look at a high value woman as a woman that actually brings money to the table. However, her ability to be able to earn as well as add value to whomever it is that they would marry is significant. So as a result, they are an asset, or they upgrade, or they add value to whomever it is that they, you know, come to the table with. In addition to that, the ability to be able to be a great mother. I think that you can't be a high value woman without the ability to be a great nurturer, which is the innate ability of something that a woman have. I think that men can learn to be nurturers, but just by default, women are better nurturers than men. That's just the truth. That's just the way it is. In the same way that men are by default, I think, stronger physically than women, I think that women are better nurturers than men. So the ability to be able to be a great parent and create a great environment, or be the best version of a nurturer when it comes to your children, is what a high value woman is. So I think that a lot of those characteristics, the ability to be able to move and see things and use your instincts to be able to determine and decipher when you should and should operate, or should and shouldn't speak, your ability to be able to add value to a person, my ability, you know, me taking you somewhere and you making me look just as good, if not better, than I would if I was to be by myself. One of the reasons why it's important, or they always advocate for whoever is running for president, to always have a spouse. And that spouse has to be, or upgrade, or add value to whomever that person is. You've never seen a single president, not in our lifetime and not ever in history. So the ability to be able to be a high value woman is adding value to whatever it is or whomever it is that you're aligning yourself with, in addition to being a great nurturer, especially as it relates to children. And then last but not least, being the best version of yourself from a physical perspective. That's what high value men look for. And I think that is just that simple. I don't think it's any more complicated than that.
Hey, Anton, would you say that a high value woman would be higher than a high value man?
No, absolutely not. Not even a little bit.
See, and this is why I don't mess with this whole high value stuff. Because then y'all get to say, okay, so this is the thing that I don't like about it. You all are saying that a man.
Who is you all?
You, your whole panel. Okay. You guys are saying that a man defines what a high value woman is. But then women, we don't define what a high value man is. A man is basically defined by his salary, which is not okay. And then secondly, you guys are sitting here ranking the like basically saying that a high value man has a higher value than a woman. And it's women
I didn't say that.
who are agreeing with this, which is like
I didn't say that
to me.
I didn't say that.
No man can define what a high value woman is.
I didn't say that.
And if you guys are allowing a man to tell you who is high value and what attributes you bring to the table that makes you high value, you are less than, like, I can't even describe.
I didn't say that though. I didn't say that a high value man is better than a high value woman.
That's the question JR just asked.
No, but what I said was, he didn't say it either. He just asked the question. But I think the clarification comes in is that I don't think that a high value man is higher than a high value woman, or vice versa. I think that, similar to what we said in our last podcast, you just date according to your level. So, for example, a person that I would consider a high value woman, I would not suggest that she date a basic guy because he does nothing for her. He does not align with her, and he is not in her bracket as it relates to the type of man that would warrant this type of woman. Why? I always relate it back to church, and I say that people pray for a spouse. And then you see this woman and she look all frumpy and regular, or you see this guy and he look basic and he not putting in no effort. He not doing the things that would make himself a greater version of himself, but he's praying for this phenomenal woman. And I always say, well, why God got to bring them down just to make you happy? Like, he loved them too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to align yourself with somebody that's on your level. So I don't think that either one is above the other. I just think that people need to stay in their lane. And if you see this woman that's on this level, unless you can definitively say that, you know what, I can handle that, I can provide for her, I can continue to embrace and enhance, and that I'm not bringing her down as a part of being in her life, and vice versa for the woman. That also, if you see this guy and you know you're not adding value to his life, you know you're not the woman that you're supposed to be, you know you got work to do, but you realize that he's up here and he's the type of guy that you want to be with, either you do the work or you let somebody else that actually deserves that version of that person to get them. So I'm not separating it. I'm not
person's choice too.
What you mean?
Isn't it the high value woman man's choice too? Like, if they choose to be with someone who doesn't meet.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you why. I'll tell you why that also, because in the same way that I like go off on guys that ruin good girls, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes people don't realize their own value. People don't always realize their own innocence or their own greatness yet. And then there's people that deceptively manipulate and take advantage of others and ruin them when they could have been a greater version of themselves. So I think that is just as much personal responsibility and how you affect others. Even though we say it takes two to play, right? There still is a level of personal responsibility that you have to bear and how you affect and impact other people.
Yeah, but I do think that, you might not consciously go into it feeling like, oh, I'm not good enough to date this person, right? Or I'm not good enough for this person. So you just really are in the relationship exploring just like them. Maybe because you have so much stuff that you got going on to unpack, you may ruin their lives in the midst of it. But I don't think that's the intention. But that's okay, because I really don't kind of rock with this whole high value men women idea. I don't like to group people. I guess I don't want to use I don't care like the Nick say, but I don't know if I care about this like that. I don't group people like this. I think this is ridiculous.
The reason that we have to is because in life, everybody does not deserve a participation trophy. There are levels. There are certain people that work harder than other people in certain areas. And you can't just have what I have just because you are you. You have to define yourself according to the level of effort that ultimately that shows in the results. And that shows, you know what I'm saying? If somebody works out every single day and all I do is go home and eat ice cream every day, I can't say that we are on the same level physically, Like, it might not sound right to say that he's a better physical specimen than I am. But the truth is that this dude looks like Somebody drew him. You know what I'm saying?
But see, I can understand that, but that alone doesn't make you a high value person, right? That alone, that is one thing that contributes to you being defined in your definition as a high value, but that alone would not put you in that category. So that's why I don't agree with this. It's like, how y'all comparing people and making people
with it, but you can't disagree with it just because it makes people uncomfortable.
I don't disagree with it because it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me uncomfortable. That's why I disagree with it. Putting women in a box or men in a box and saying to me that these type of men, if you check off all of these things, you are considered a high value man or you are considered a high value woman, and you need to distinguish yourself from other women. That's a problem for me in general. Like, right. I don't.
Wait. When you go out, before you had this relationship that you in right now, you knew that there were certain men that were below the standard by which you would allow them to even play any type of role in your life.
Yeah, but I would not call them low value.
No matter what you would call them outwardly, inwardly, and by your own actions, you separated people and put them in a box. Just because you don't want to like verbally say it, don't mean that that's not what we do every single day.
I don't do that. I don't put people in a box. And I know somebody that I'm not attracted to and I'm not interested in, and it could be for a variety of different reasons.
The unattractive box. He goes into the unattractive box, right?
Me defining myself as high value and comparing myself to other women gives me no more confidence, and it doesn't do anything for me, like socially. It makes me feel no way to be like, oh, I'm a high value woman, and I really take no pride in a man telling me that. So that's my thing. I just don't take any pride in that.
But guess what? If you were unhappy in life because you wasn't able to acquire the things that you felt like you deserved as a result of your own actions, that would motivate you. You being able to find, yo, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, and I need to be a higher value person. You would push yourself to get there because you understand that there's a certain level that you need to get to in order to be able to acquire the things that you want out of life. That's not separating yourself and putting yourself in a box. That's just clearly defining where we need to be. And I don't understand why we so uncomfortable as a society with defining, yo, there is a first place and a second place. There is a third place and a fourth place, and second place is the first loser. Like, that's a real life thing. We need to like stop giving out participation. I
just don't look at life like that. I don't do that. That's naturally, I can't just be like, oh yeah, this person is below me and I should be higher than them because I've accomplished this, that, and the third. And I've accomplished a lot in my life, but I just don't believe that. So,
hey, B-Nix, I want to ask this last question. How important is character when it comes to a high value woman?
To me, that's one of the main variables. I know that Tawana gave a different definition where we were talking about, solely from like finances, but I think I was clear in my response where I was saying I wasn't looking at it from like a monetary aspect. I think that being of high character, high IQ, the way you're able to carry yourself, and that's why I was mentioning more so the aspects of somebody being a thought partner, critical thinker. I need someone that is able to think independently on their own, but is able to then complement what I'm trying to do. I think that there's people out there that really are dependent upon other people in relationships in order to call the plays, in order to make the plans, to find a ways to make the money, and like, that's fine. I get it. Some people like relationships like that. I don't. I want someone that I feel like is like-minded. I don't want somebody like, and that's why I'm kind of split, because the thing is, we're not saying that somebody that's this high value is less than, but I feel like high value for me is that you're able to match my character and really be a complementary piece. Because in some cases, like, I think that people with people that they are less than, in which they want someone that's less than, so I think it's like, I don't like the aspect of high value, but I think that I was quiet because I changed my mind the way that we described it. It's like, okay, yeah, I want that. I mean, and
if you describe it that way,
Yeah, it's like I may not like.
I'm more open to it.
I may not call it that, but
you don't call it that. But that's what it is. And if men are defined similarly,
people are trash.
Because men are defined, high value men are defined by their salary bracket. And I disagree with that. I think that it should be very similar in what you just described. But because that's the way high value men are described, that is the reason.
No, that was Buddy on his show.
That's
that
right.
Was,
that was all him.
Description, man.
But I'm saying, but if we're going to define high value women on this level, I agree. If a man is defined on that same level, and that's how we see a high value man, then yeah, I would agree with that definition. But all of this salary, men are defined by their salary, women defined by their heart and what they offer to a man. I don't have time for that. That's crazy to me. But go ahead, y'all can, whatever y'all like, put yourself in a category, make you feel better. I don't know. It don't make me feel better. So yeah, that's just me. I don't know what to say. Sorry, I might offend a few people, but I don't really care at this point.
Church.
The church.
All right,
and don't worry, I don't care what Tawana said either.
And you know what? We don't be caring what each other say, and we move on. Yeah, that's what it is.